Hey everybody, okay, so it's Yehuda Goldberg from Brothers Butcher Shop. As you can see, my apron's covering up my name, but on my hat you can see. I want to do a video today on showing you guys how I butcher down the different cuts of the long cut loin. So as you can see, it's Wednesday morning. I've got the hip, the long cut loin, and the flank. Unfortunately, the guys that I buy the meat from Norwich Packers, they cut off the flank. We'll make do. It's fine. But anyway, so I wanted to show you. So we've got the hip over here, the long cut loin. We've got the whole, like 3/4 of the flank over here, and the rest of the flank right there. And we've got all the cuts over here. So this animal was slaughtered on June the 8th. Beautiful, over 1,000 pound steer. So I'm actually really excited. I'm looking forward to cutting it down. I'm going to show you guys how I do the different parts. And as I said, today we're going to focus on the long cut loin, which is the sirloin, the strip loin, and the tenderloin. So a reason why I wanted to do this video is because there's this guy online that does these videos that everyone thinks is it's so cool because he does these like fancy cut and moves and all that stuff. And then he salts it like this over his arm, and it's not all about theatrics when it comes to meat, and I'll tell you why. This is, again, my opinion. But, in my opinion, meat has to be treated properly. The animal has to be raised properly. Even after slaughter, it has to be taken care of properly, and it has to be treated properly from beginning to end. So when you do the big cuts and you wrap the meat around around the knife and you whip it across at the camera, to me that's not being respectful to the animal. And I think everything that we eat should be respected. So this is just my opinion. You know, I don't tell anybody what to do, but I believe in respecting the animal from beginning to end. So I'm going to show you. So here we start off with a sharp knife. I'm going to pull off the rest of the flank. And I'm going to treat the animal properly by doing little cuts and just separating it off nicely and gently. Coming right to the rib bone that's right there. I had a chef in France who once said to me, "You have to let the product, the food, talk to you." And I know that may sound stupid, but the reason why he told me that was because I was on the station in this little restaurant in Alsace in Strasbourg, and one of the dishes we served was Munster cheese with cumin seeds. It's a bit of a delicacy there. It's not the regular Munster you see here, but it's a soft cheese with a beautiful orange rind. And the chef, I put it in the fridge to solidify a little bit more, so it can be easier to cut. And the chef got so mad at me, and he's like, "Why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Don't you realize the cheese wants to be relaxed? It doesn't want to be in a fridge. Otherwise, the cheese would naturally be hard, but it's soft. So treat it with respect. Put it in, leave it on the top of the fridge where it's supposed to be, where it's nice and cool. It's not too hot, not too warm, not too hot, not too cold, and it's the right temperature for the cheese." And he said, "Look at it this way. The food will always tell you how to treat it. As a chef, as a butcher, we're just the messengers to bring the item from the farm to your table. It's not us it's not up to us to mess around with it. Everything we do has to be treated with respect." So I've got the rest of my flank off, and now I'm going to take off the tenderloin. So the tenderloin, as you can see, runs all the way down here. It's literally being held together by a fat cap, and it's very easy to take it apart, take it off the bone. So, run my knife in, cut the hard sinew that's holding it in. And I'm going to run my knife right up against the bone. Now, just like any butchery, as long as you're running your knife against the bone, you're fine. I'm not sure if you can hear me, the knife scraping the bone, but it is. And it is running beautifully. There you go. It's hard for you guys to see it from this angle, but I've run the knife right up against the bone, which is the backbone of the animal. And now it's an easy pull. As I separate, I cut it off with the fat cap and away from the bone. So here you go. This is actually what the tenderloin looks like. As you can see, it was just hanging on to the bone like that. And now you can see over here, it's all it was a little bit of a fat cap and a little bit of a tendon over there. So I'm going to clean this off so you can see what it's going to look like afterwards. Now this is beautiful meat from Norwich Packers, as you guys know. We get all our beef from them. It's all hormone and antibiotic free. Nice and clean. There's actually a chain. There's a chain right next to the tenderloin that you pull. Comes right off. Now look at that, nice and beautiful. Cut right along the side of it. Whenever you're cutting meat, you always cut away from yourself. Now I'm wearing a glove, which is a metal glove. And on top of it, I have a plastic, plastic glove, just to protect the glove from getting stuck with meat. But here we go. You always cut away from you. Always, whenever you're cutting meat, whenever you're doing any kind of butchery, you always cut away from you. You never want to cut into your hands or anything like that, because you're just going to hurt yourself. Now I'm going to cut off this big fat cap over here. There you go. Nice fat cap. Don't forget, fat always equals flavor. Taking off all the silver skin. And I got a little bit left over here. Clean it off. Okay. This is a beautiful, beautiful tenderloin. Otherwise called the filet mignon, or the filet. Here we go. Trimmed it all off. And there you have it. A beautiful tenderloin. The top part, this part is known as the Chateaubriand. The rest is known as the fillet. So there we go. This is why this is the most expensive part of the animal, because it's so tender, there's no fat, it's juicy and delicious. And remember, always treat your meat with respect. Always treat your meat with respect. Anything you eat, treat it with respect. Because if you treat your food with respect, it'll treat you back and it'll taste delicious and moist. Enjoy.